In this lesson, I'm going to show you guys how to do a roof plan. So what I have here is a floor plan, a model that basically does not have a roof on it yet. So one of the first things that we need to do is look at our elevations. So if I click on a north elevation, what you'll see in this is my first floor is at 0 feet, 0 inches, and my roof level currently is at 8 feet 1 1/8 inch. And basically how I got that was I added the components that would go into the wall that sits on the first floor. So I would have 1.5 inches for the thickness of the sole plate. I'd have 92 5/8 inches for the length of the pre-cut stud, and then I would have 3 inches for the double top plate. Whenever I add those three together, I end up with the 8 feet 1 1/8 inch. So I could attach my roof at this point, and the only problem with this is I want to use a raised heel truss for my roof structure, and if I'm going to use a raised heel truss, I don't have any way of doing that in Revit. So what I basically have to do is I have to build another wall on top of this wall. So I'm going to basically change this from being called a roof to first floor ceiling. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another level. So I can go to my architecture tab, click on this little level button, and I'm going to change this one to roof now. And basically what I want to do is I want to add 16 inches to this, or 14 inches depending on how high you want your heel height to be. We'll add 16 inches to this, which would end up being 9 foot 7 1/8. At this point, all these walls are going to be connected to first floor ceiling. Now what I can do is go back to my floor plan, and I want to basically hover over an exterior wall, hit tab, I want to copy it, and then I want to paste it to align selected levels. And I'm going to copy it up to the first floor ceiling. And I can just ignore the error. Whenever I look at this in 3D, it's going to copy all the windows and everything. I'm not really worried about that right now. So I'm going to hover over one of those walls again and try to pick, it's not giving it to me. I'm going to have to go around and pick all the perimeter walls, holding control down. And what I want to do now is I don't want to have a base offset. I want that to be 0. I want it to start the base constraint to be at first floor ceiling, and I want the top constraint to go up to roof. And then I don't want any top offset either. So I'm going to make that 0. And it's basically giving me an error saying that it's going to cut all the windows and doors out of the second floor. and then whatever ones remain I can go through and delete. And basically what I just did there was created another wall on top of those walls, and what that's really representing is the heel of the truss. After I do that, I'm ready to put a roof on. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my first floor ceiling floor plan, which I don't have one right now, so I can very easily create one by going to Plan Views, Floor Plan. Not giving it to me. Alright, so I'm going to click on my roof plan view, and I'm going to come in here and click on roof, and I'm just going to look at some different settings within this roof. The very first thing that I want to do is I want to edit the type of my roof, and I want to make sure that my structure is 3.5 inches thick, because we're using trusses instead of rafters. And then my plywood or my sheathing on top is going to be 5/8 of an inch. I'm going to have asphalt shingles of 1/4 inch thick. And I say OK. I also want to make sure that under here it says that I'm going to use a 2-cut plumb for the rafter cut, and my fascia depth is going to be 6 inches. After I do that, I'm going to make sure I have a 1-foot overhang, and then I'm just going to basically go through and choose the walls. And now if I want to click on some of these and make them change the slope. I don't want that one to slope. And I think we're going to change this to a 5/12 roof pitch. So I can just click on them all, change to 5, say apply, and I'm going to go ahead and hit my check mark. Whenever I click on this roof, it is on the level roof, and I'm going to go ahead and go to 3D and take a look at it. I'm going to change one more thing. I'm going to edit that footprint, and I'm going to make this, or uncheck that define slope box. And that's basically what I want right there. Alright, at this point, I can also go through and select that wall, and I can attach the top to the roof, so it takes the gable end up. I can select that one, I can attach to the roof, takes it up to the roof, and now I have an actual roof on there. What I have to work on at this point is a roof plan. So right now I have a few different things going on. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my visibility graphics, and I'm going to turn off my sections under the annotation categories. And then I can turn them back on later if I want to show them in my floor plan. So one of the first things I need to do is I need to go in. I'm going to adjust my depth clipping so that it's clip without line. I am going to make sure my visual style is hidden line. I'm going to go into my view range, and I'm going to make the top of my view, I'm just going to set it up to 40 feet. I'm going to make my cut plane 40 feet. The bottom, I'm going to make, try something out, minus 14 inches. Minus 14 inches. And I'm going to say apply. Okay. That's showing me the outline of my roof. The next thing that I want to do is I want to go in, did the hidden lines. I want to go into my visibility graphics again. And I want to look at my roofs. Actually, I want to look at my walls. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to go into our visibility graphics, and well, first of all, we're going to change this to wireframe instead of hidden line so that I can see through the roof. And then I want to go into my visibility graphics, and I want my walls to show up as hidden lines. So I just do this, the override for the lines, and I'm going to make these hidden. Apply that, and now I have hidden lines representing the walls. The next thing that I can do is I can go to my annotate tab, and I can put on some spot slope lines, and sometimes these might be too big, so I can just very easily edit the size of those and change the leader line length from an inch to 3/8 of an inch, 0.375. And I'm just going to drop a few of them randomly, and it's telling me that they're not visible in the roof plan because I have all my annotations turned off in the visibility graphics. I'm going to turn those back on. And I'm going to do a few more spot slopes. And I can see why my roof's a little goofy because I have a 9/12 roof pitch here, so I'm going to edit that footprint real quick. Click on this, change that to a 5/12 like everything else. And after I have those on there, the next thing I can do is under my annotate tab, I could add some text. And I'm going to choose the format with 2 segments for the leader. And I'm going to call out the ridge line. And I'm going to call out the valley. I'm going to call out any hips. I'm going to, in one location, call out the exterior walls. I have another ridge line here. change this to say just ridge. And I now have a roof plan that I can put onto a title block. And the last thing that needs to go on there is I'm going to dimension the overhang in a couple places. And I don't want to dimension to the face of core. I want to dimension wall faces instead to give me my 1 foot. And now I have a roof plan that I can put onto a sheet and print out.